Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
You're looking now at a scene from last night where one person is dead and another in custody. That happened after a shooting in a Midland neighborhood. CBS7 spoke with a resident who witnessed it all.
I ran in the house and locked the doors, and I heard two more shots. When we came out, the victim across the street was laying in the street, deceased, and that's about all I know.
The latest details on the investigation are coming up in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight tracking crime in Midland, where police say a Midland woman was murdered and her killer is still on the loose. Police are looking for 54-year-old Wilbert Ray Davis. Around 5 o'clock yesterday, Midland police responded to a murder in the 4400 block of Parkdale Drive. 34-year-old Kendra Volmers was found dead inside of a home by her family members. Police say it appears that she was strangled to death. Davis was identified as a suspect and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Police say they are actively trying to apprehend him. Follow along on CBS7 and online for updates. And that wasn't the only murder in Midland last night. What felt like just a normal Tuesday evening in the suburbs of North Midland turned into a scene straight out of a crime show. Midland police responded to a house near 6700 Rio Bravo at 5:43 p.m. That's where they found a man kneeling in the street holding a gun and another lying in the street dead. A nearby neighbor who witnessed a majority of the event described it as looking like a Western standoff. One neighbor on each end of the street, both with guns in hand.
He said, "Run, get in the house." So I looked up and I saw the victim was across the street in front of the silver car with an assault rifle, and nobody was yelling. So I thought he was an active shooter or something in the street. So I had yelled to my neighbor, "Sam, get in your house, he has an AR."
34-year-old Samuel Omomogo was arrested at the scene. He's been charged with the murder of 41-year-old John Richard. The reason for the shooting is still unknown, but we'll keep you updated as we learn more. And on the morning of May 12th, police found 26-year-old Austin Wynn dead outside of his 18-wheeler in the 10,400 block of West I-20. As a third-generation horse hauler, Wynn drove this route 1 to 3 times per week, often stopping at this cluster of gas stations to fuel up. His cousin says that he had just finished wishing his mother and his girlfriend a happy Mother's Day over the phone, promising each of them that he'd be home by dinner. Later that morning, his family was notified that he was shot, and they've been seeking justice ever since.
And that's what I've been doing nonstop. I've been on Facebook and LinkedIn, TikTok. I'm just trying to get somebody out there to say something.
Bradley is asking that anyone in that area check security and dash cameras or speak out about something they saw. Midland Crime Stoppers and the family are offering a combined $6,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. If you know something, you can submit an anonymous tip by calling 694-TIPS or using the P3 mobile tips app. We're going to take a pause now and talk with your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. Tom, it was insanely warm out today. Is it going to be like that the rest of the week?
Well, it is going to start to warm up a little bit more. Let's take a look at first off at the satellite radar view, showing you that, again, most of the scattered showers, thunder showers we had along a weak cool front and a dry line have rapidly moved off to the east. So again, no reports of severe weather coming in as things were a little on the hot side. Big Lake up to 101 earlier today, 102 in Dryden, and the hot spot down at Rio Grande Village, 113. As you can see, we warmed up into the mid-90s across the Permian Basin. So we're going to see temperatures stay a little on the warm side coming up tomorrow. Currently, we're at 80 degrees out there, so not too bad with a little bit of breeze because that dry line is pushing back off to the west. Let's take a look at it here and show you. Again, we're dealing with an east wind upwards to 20 miles an hour sustained. Some gust upwards to 26 miles an hour in Odessa. They'll slowly start to taper off a little bit towards the midnight hour and a little bit cooler overnight tonight. upper 60s, but overall a hot, dry trend on the way coming up here next few days.
Thank you, Tom. And with those temperatures heating up, you might be looking for a place to cool down. The City of Midland is offering 3 cooling centers for the community to get a break from that summer heat. Those centers are located at Thriving United, the Salvation Army in Midland, and the MLK Center. People can grab a meal or a bottle of water while they beat the heat. The cooling stations prevent people from getting a heat stroke or heat exhaustion.
We're not talking about just homeless. We're talking about people in trailers or people that just don't have the capability to cool themselves down. There's a safe place for them to go. And then it's important also for the community at large.
So far, each center has averaged anywhere from 40 to 80 people a day. For more information about the times that each cooling station is open, you can visit our website, CBS7.com. Now for a story that's all new tonight at 10, last week, CBS7's Tyler Poglich spoke with Senator Ted Cruz about a major bill that was passing in the House. Over the weekend, President Biden signed that bill into law that will make $105 billion available for airports across the nation. Tyler spoke with Midland International Air and Spaceport about the renewal of the FAA just days before it was set to expire and what type of impact it will have on MAF. Tyler.
The renewal of this FAA bill is going to allow airports all across the country, whether it's big or small like MAF, to make major improvements all across the board.
We were thrilled. It's great to be able to have the opportunity to compete in the things that are coming up and the money that will be available.
For years now, MAF has been a growing airport, and because of its continued growth in its flyers, the renewal of this $105 billion FAA bill will allow MAF to expand on its already developments.
We have several projects coming up that we can compete for money on. We have the checkpoint expansion project, which will be a relocation of our checkpoint to the south end of the terminal building. So we have received money for design on that project, and now we can compete for some construction funds.
Also in the renewal of this bill, one of the things outlined is the growth of space travel in Texas, which for MAF is huge as space travel is growing all across Texas.
There's been a lot of forward movement in space in the last couple of years, and it's nice for us to have the recognition from the FAA of what is happening and their buy-in to it and their ability to help us. So I think it's going to be a great thing for us moving forward.
Last month, MAF saw a 12% increase in its flyers from April of 2023 to April of 2024. MAF had over 61,000 people just fly out of its airport, which puts early totals just under 408,000 flyers this year.
Oh, we've got a lot of things coming up based on growth because we are busier than we've ever been in history. We're looking at a parking garage in the next 2 or 3 years, the expansion to the terminal that I mentioned earlier, and other things kind of behind the scenes, infrastructure expansion and such.
If you're traveling this weekend and plan on flying out of MAF, make sure you get to the airport early as lines are expected to be long. Reporting at Midland International Air and Spaceport for CBS7 First Alert News, I'm Tyler Poglich.
Thank you, Tyler. And like he just said, Memorial Day is next week. And bikers in the Permian Basin will spend their Memorial Day celebrating the lives lost in combat, making sure that the fallen soldiers are never forgotten. It's the 25th annual Ride to Remember, and up to 500 bikers from across Texas will travel to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Site in Midland. And then they'll ride all the way to Andrews. It's a way to honor the soldiers who paid the ultimate price for our country.
We decided that there wasn't a whole lot being done about Memorial Day with the cities. So we decided to do this ride and figured that a bunch of motorcycles would get people's attention and try to remind them why they got a 3-day weekend and why they got all these sales and everything.
Before they take off on the ride, they're going to have a ceremony at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Site. The event is free to join, and all bikers are encouraged to ride along with them. In the community now, community members gathered at the Southern Baptist Church today to learn about CASA of the Permian Basin and the foster care system. The purpose of the meeting was to highlight the growing need for volunteers. According to the organization, in order to volunteer, you have to be 21 years old, pass a background check, and have a desire to help children. Staff members say that volunteers are critical so they can help make a difference in children's lives and advocate for them.
Fortunately, we have an abundance of children in the foster care system that need an advocate to determine what's best for them.
If you're interested in becoming a volunteer for CASA of the Permian Basin or would like more information about their services, you can visit their website at casapba.org. Still ahead, with the severe weather recently, it's important to know what your meteorologists are talking about. Up next, we explain some of the terminology. Late spring and early summer is severe storm season here in West Texas, and the CBS7 First Alert team of meteorologists work hard to monitor storms and keep you informed. CBS7 meteorologist Sawyer McElroy joins us now to explain the difference between a weather watch and a weather warning.
You may hear the CBS7 First Alert weather team talk about watches and warnings, but you may not know the difference between the two. A watch means that conditions are favorable for severe weather, but it is not happening now. This is the time to get prepared in case severe weather occurs. Watches are issued for several counties. They're issued well in advance and last between 4 and 8 hours. They can be revised to adjust to the weather situation as conditions change. Warnings, on the other hand, mean that severe weather is actively happening or moving into your area. This is the time to take action. This is also when you should head to your safe place. Warnings are issued for smaller areas. They last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and they can be revised and extended if the storm continues with little movement or if the storm strengthens.
Be sure you download the CBS7 weather app for a live radar and storm tracking information.
And we have been tracking a few strong storms today across the area, but it looks like that activity's over with for tonight. Hot, dry conditions are on the way. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, we did see a rather warm day, but look at these temperatures. This is what a cold front does to high temperatures when you have that move across the area and kind of pull up stationary. We saw temperatures into the mid 90s across many locations, but into the 80s though behind the front across the northern Permian Basin. So a big change there across the area, even 90 in Big Spring, but still topped out 95 out at the Middle National Air and Spaceport, and saw the usual triple digits right along the Rio Grande, but creeping up towards Big Lake. Actually, they topped out at 101 degrees. Tall city skyline showing a mild evening. Right now we're into the 80s to the upper 70s around Big Spring and La Mesa, but still on the warm side in Fort Stockton with 88 degrees and still some triple digits hanging on down there in those lower elevations of Big Bend National Park over towards Terlingua and Lajitas. I saw lots of thunderstorms blow up across portions of central and east Texas. High pressure that's been keeping us hot is going to start to move back in a little bit. So we're going to see a change coming up for the weekend as we say goodbye to that storm system. But there will be another weak front try to move in coming up on Sunday. Right now across the state of Texas, we are looking at, again, pretty quiet conditions across West Texas as most of the excuse me, showers and thunderstorms are now moving off across portions of East Texas. And high temperatures today, again, a mixed bag with that front, a little cooler in the Dallas-Fort Worth area up in the Texas Panhandle, but seeing plenty of 90s out there. And down here in deep South Texas, another day of triple-digit heat index values with all that humidity. We're going to dry out quite a bit. It doesn't look like too much in the way of thunderstorm activity here coming up over the next 24 to 48 hours. So as we move in towards the Memorial Day weekend, we're going to see some improvement in our weather. Still have heat advisories up for tomorrow across portions of the Big Bend area and into the Davis Mountains. Rest of tonight, we're going to see temperatures in the mid 60s tomorrow. Warming back up into the upper 90s to low triple digits across the Trans-Pecos, and that's really the trend for the Memorial Day weekend, even though we'll see a weak front that'll cool us down a couple of degrees coming up on Memorial Day.
This weekend, there's an opportunity just ahead of Memorial Day to honor those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. CBS 7's Matthew Alvarez spoke with Midland American Legion members about the event.
The red poppy is a symbol of remembrance for the more than 600,000 Americans who have died in the line of military service since World War I. Joining us now are members of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 19 out of Midland, Sabrina Melton and Jean Bennett. Thank you both for your time today.
Oh, thanks for having us, Matthew.
Thank you.
We're passionate about veterans and we love to raise awareness in any way we can.
It's such an important cause, and particularly around this time of the year, Memorial Day coming up very soon. And ahead of that is National Poppy Day. Can you talk more about that?
The American Legion has declared the Friday before Memorial Day as a National Poppy Day, a day of awareness symbolized by the red poppy that came into prominence as a symbol to honor veterans after World War I.
And so the event that's happening locally, talk more about that and the funds being raised for that.
We do fundraisers actually throughout the community, and I know the Odessa Post does as well. These funds can only be used to benefit veterans and military, and actually we partner with the Honor Flight too. So your donation helps so many veterans in any amount. $5 could buy a pair of socks, $10 can buy a meal. More, we have veterans call us. We helped a homeless veteran get into an apartment. We might meet somebody at HEB and buy them groceries. And we just hope that veterans can reach out to us if they are in need. And we have that fund available thanks to the public's donations.
That's wonderful. And talk about the history. You told me a little bit about before we got started the history of the day. Go into that a little bit more.
In World War I was just such a horrific war. And in 1915, a Canadian, Lieutenant John McCrae, wrote a wonderful, touching poem called In Flanders Fields. And it talks about the poppies blooming where recently men had fought and died. And the red symbol of the poppy symbolizes their shed blood and their sacrifice. And we just want to bring awareness to that it's been 109 years now, but it's still pertinent today. So when you wear your red poppy, or if we are handing them out, maybe at the courthouse or Hobby Lobby in front of there, just take it and wear it with pride on Friday or on the 24th, and in remembrance of those who gave their lives.
And so speaking of, where can we get these poppies?
Well, you can contact your American Legion here in Odessa and the one in Midland, Post 19. You can look on Facebook and contact us through our Facebook page, and we'd be glad to get one to you or have an event at your business.
Yeah, and speaking of, Sabrina, tell me a little bit about your involvement with this and what it means to you personally.
Well, my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and he passed away almost 6 years ago. And I've got involved with Jean and several other auxiliary members and decided that my dad since he is a veteran, that I will honor his remembrance by doing the poppies or helping out where I can, serving events at the Legion, serving in events and helping plan events and stuff to honor our veterans and their family members.
Wonderful. And some more information, just real quick for the viewers who are just tuning in, where can they go to donate to this fund?
You can come to American Legion Post 19, 501 Veterans Air Park Lane in Midland. You can contact me at 432-254-3668, and I will work with you on getting poppies out in the community. And you can call Post 430 here in Odessa.
That's wonderful.
They'd be glad to help you. And again, if veterans need assistance, please just contact us. We'll get you in touch with our service officer, or the auxiliary can help if there is a need.
That's wonderful. Reach out to them if you can, and we'll donate this Memorial Day weekend. Thank you both, Sabrina and Jean, with the American Legion Auxiliary Post 19 from Midland. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you, Matthew.
Dog lovers, listen up. There's a new way to bring your canine companions anywhere you want. We'll have that story in just a few minutes. All right, Tom, before we go, check this out. A new airline that's catered to dogs is about to take off. It starts Thursday, which is tomorrow. Bark Air is their name, and they'll carry dogs of all sizes and their human companions on routes from New York, Los Angeles, and London. The airline said its goal is to offer an alternative to traditional air travel, which is often stressful to both dogs and their owners. But the service has been pretty popular already, with 15,000 requests for new destinations. But here's the thing, the flight won't come cheap. A one-way ticket for one dog and its owner, $6,000. That's only for the domestic flights. $8,000 for anything international. Bark Air said that it plans to add new routes throughout the summer. I mean, you get to fly on a really nice plane with your dog with you, and look at in your lap. That's not in your lap. They get their own seat.
And the best thing, it's affordable.
It's very affordable. Thanks for watching CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight at 10.